Cher second. But
interesting.
yeah,
Okay, not Celine?
No.
You're not a Celine fan?
No.
Okay.
No, it's like I'm like a weird no
that's
Celine.
I think that's actually like the 1-2, like the Madonna Cher.
Yeah,
I get that.
Like if there was no Madonna, Cher would be the queen, but there is a Madonna, so Cher has to take second. But it's a very close second.
Okay.
But having said all that, I mean, I've seen J-Lo, live. What J-Lo does on a stage is not humane. Like she's not of this world.
No, she's otherworldly. Her performance at the Super Bowl, I think, is if it's any indication to what a show is like live with her is incredible. I've seen her so many times and it never disappoints. It's like she is such an entertainer in the truest sense of that word, right? Like there are people that can sing really well, there are people that can perform really well, there are people that can dance really well, and then somehow, some way, she combines them all, and she is just like the purest entertainer of them all.
She is. Now, I mean, not to just focus on everyone's relationship.
Oh no!
But
what?
Here you. Well, I mean,
We're gonna get there on the podcast too. We're not there yet.
You guys are.
Yeah. So we gave her 6 episodes on becoming an icon. I believe she is going to have the most episodes of any icon.
As she should.
As she should. I mean, Bad Bunny is like pushing for that crown with this Jenner mess. But she has 6 episodes, and we do an entire episode just really about how her love life really drove so many of the lyrics and inspiration behind her music. And she's got a new album coming out, This Is Me Now. So there's a lot to talk about there, but what were you going to ask?
Well, I mean, there's no loaded question. I'm just curious, are you for Bennifer?
Oh my God, yes.
You are, right?
I was for Bennifer 1.0. Like, I thought this is magic. Like, I remember looking at that being like, wow, like these 2 beautiful people found each other. Again, another kind of unlikely pairing, but something about that one felt right to me. I think because Ben is from like Boston and she's from the Bronx, and they're polar opposites in the sense of like the teams they support, the food that they eat, the accent, but at the same time there is like a realness and an authenticity to people from Boston and people from New York, and I felt like that was such a good match for them, even though they've both been transplanted out of these worlds that they grew up in to like glitzy Hollywood. They still, I think, have a lot of that grit and like street about them. And I liked that pairing the first time. I was sad when it ended. I think their lethal mistake was opening their lives up too much, too early. I think they've done a much better job this time around. And I also think that, people change a lot in 20 years. Like, you hope that we grow and evolve and get better and just kind of like do better for ourselves. And I think they found each other. I mean, it's a true like modern day fairy tale.
Kind of, right? And like,
who doesn't want to rekindle, a love that maybe just was the wrong timing? Think about like exes that you've had, and you think of them fondly and think, wow, you know what? That was just like wrong time. That's it. Everything else was perfect, but that was just the wrong time.
Yeah. And I think, if you lose J-Lo, like, look, even A-Rod kind of realized like I fucked up. So I think if you lose her, right?
Yeah.
Ben, I think, really just sat there pining for years and just had this chance. And I think, like, he to me looks at her like he's like he's probably treats her so well, right?
I'm sure.
I mean, I've made up my own backstory in my head, but this is what I see.
I mean, how could you not? Like, what does she not bring to the table, right? And I'm not saying that it's obviously us from looks, because we have seen many, many beautiful, gorgeous, successful women be cheated on by men in Hollywood. Like, this happens all the time. This happens all the time in real life, not just Hollywood. But it's like, I feel like she brings so much and is such a good influence on him as well. And not that Jen Garner wasn't, right? But different time, different relationship. And I think he's learned a lot from that relationship. Sometimes you need the learner relationship, like the training wheels, right? Like, you need training wheels. And sometimes that's what that person is for you. Then you take them off and then you soar. And then you just need to find your partner to soar with.
True. And, he had some rough times there, some struggles. So I think he has got his life back on track, but I think she helps, and I think he realizes, like, my life at times was a mess, and like, I'm lucky that I'm here. That's just how I feel,
right, and I
appreciate that.
And I can't believe she gave me another chance, right? Like, in all of this. And don't you find that when they're equals, it just works better? Like, I just feel like...
You didn't think her and Mark Anthony were equals?
I think it was so different. And I think that, you know, I think she dealt with a lot of real toxic men. She had like a little batch of, you know, Puff Daddy, like Mark Anthony.
A-Rod.
And I think that coming out of that, I think she has met her match. Like Ben is her equal, right? Like he stands on his own 2 feet. And Mark Anthony musically, I actually think is far superior to J-Lo's talent. Like I think his talent, I mean,
is amazing.
Mark Anthony, despite his role as her husband and as a serial cheater, didn't say that, but I did. Musically, like unmatched. Like he's incredible. Also, like talk about a performer. But he didn't have the same level of fame that she did. He's not he's not the global superstar icon that J-Lo is to most people. To me and to like people that love Latin music, of course he is. He stands on his own. But I just feel like they're a better match. I feel like Jennifer and Ben are just pure equals.
I would agree.
Right? He's got an Oscar. Like, I mean, he's...
So all this stuff at the Emmys and this, it's all, you make no, it is what it is. I mean, we all know how that works.
And I also like love that Ben is just so comfortable being himself that he doesn't care if he's at the Grammys. Like, he's like looking around, like, what's going on here? I don't want to dance to Bad Money. And he's like, I'm not going to. He doesn't have to perform for her or for us. And I think she probably finds that really sexy. Like, he's not putting on a show for anyone. He's super confident in being exactly his authentic self.
Because J-Lo, it was Grammys, not Emmys. I was wrong. Because she does seem under all that, like, you know, like a real, like, down to earth, like, you know, when she's not into all that pomp and circumstance, I don't think. Because you and I know her so well, of course.
I mean, obviously we've been invited to her home many times. Like I can text her right now and ask her, right, what had really happened. Listen, I think that she does not live like a life that you and I live, right? Like her world is very different than ours. Yeah. But I actually think she likes like the boy from Boston. Yeah. She's Jenny from the block.
Yeah. I kind of think so too. You know, you want the mega mansion and all that, of course, but one-on-one, you want to relate. Yeah. See, this is how we would be, right? If we had that, we would still want the real connection, but you know, yes.
Yeah, like you want to be your truest self with somebody, right? And he has seen her from that point when they had the first round to now. Like he's been around for it. Maybe he wasn't like in her life day to day, but he's seen her go through it. They talk about it. She's changed. She's evolved. I don't know. I think it's nice. They probably rooted each other on for years, maybe. And we don't know how often they were talking over that time. We don't know. Were they like pen pals? I like to think that they were. Who knows? But we don't know.
We don't know. But I'm as for it as you are.
Yay! I love it. I hate Bennifer haters. Like I'm not here for that. Like why?
No. Well, listen, like at
Who
first,
would want that?
Well, look, we thought this was a publicity stunt, right? But then when we realized it wasn't, I was like, yeah, I'm here for this. I mean, you know, all the stereotypes that they say about J-Lo, I believe are true, that she truly wants love, which you can't knock someone for that.
She's a hopeless romantic. She's like our modern day Elizabeth Taylor, right? And like, you gotta respect that. Somebody that's willing to like love and hurt over and over again and is still like, at the end of the day, the most important thing to me is love. Like, I that's incredibly commendable. I can't do that, right? Like, I'm terrified.
Right.
I'm terrified.
No one wants love advice from me, let me tell you. At least you're